Welcome to Ventura. I'm Joe Schroeder. I'm the mayor of the city. So normally the mayor comes up and says all kinds of great things about, and then most of it's BS. But what I want to get into is what you have done for our city. So the last 2 years, when the X game comes in, we in Ventura, we pick up our pace. We do things a little bit quicker. Municipal government works really slow. But when I watch the X Games, and I come here almost every day, and when I watch them build, what I love is stuff happens, mistakes are made. I haven't seen one person that works for the X Games that turns to the other person and says, whose fault is it? Well, why isn't she here now? They never do that. They go, what do I have to do to get this done next? So last year when I showed up, and showed up all 3 days, Saturday, it was fabulous. It was just a ton of people. And skateboarders and action sports, they're kind of edgy people. But what I ran into is the largest group of polite people in my life. I thought I was at an ARP conference, a bunch of like old people saying, excuse me. And it was outstanding to see that. So you've given so much to us from a cultural standpoint and from a strategy standpoint. And the one thing I'll always take away from this, there was a famous basketball coach named John Wooden at UCLA. And his saying was, be quick, but don't hurry. He wanted you to be balanced, right? When I look at the X game, you're very quick and you're always balanced. And to the rest of the world, it looks like you're hurrying, but to you guys, it's your speed. Ventura loves the X Games, and we love what you bring to us, and we love what we can learn from you. So with that, I'll turn it over to people that are much more important than me. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Jahm Najafi. I have the honor to be the chairman of MSB Sports Capital. We partnered with ESPN to acquire X Games now 2 years ago. Let me tell you just a very quick story. I grew up in a country far away from the U.S. For the first 12 years of my life. And as a 10-year-old, my cousin, I saw my cousin every time I visited him. He was an amazing skater. I watched him become better and better every time I visited him. Every time I tried to do it, I fell. I became a deep admirer of action sports athletes. Why? Because action sports athletes are very, very different than other sports leagues. Every single time an athlete goes out there, during their journey, the very first day they start, they can get hurt. They fall down every single time. They have the opportunity or the incredible privilege, I guess, to learn from getting hurt. No other athlete can do that. It's an unbelievable combination of resilience, passion, dedication, physical capability, mental capability. It's truly a great combination. I have never seen an athlete to be able to combine all of those together and continuously be in a position to get hurt, yet keep going and going and going. Yet at the same time, as they grow, become better and better, and they make it look so effortless for us at our age, because we think we can do it too, because they do it so well, they don't get enough for what they do and the risk that they've taken in their lives. And that's what we need to do collectively in this organization. We need to ensure that they are supported, they are globalized, they create the right income stream, they provide the opportunity to be able to compete continuously throughout the year and compete against each other and become truly a global sport, because I, as a 12-year-old in a country called Iran, was a fan of skateboarding. They are everywhere. Every single one of us, when we were younger, we wanted to be an action sport hero. I can tell you, I don't know how many of you, raise your hand if you wanted to be an action sport star. Everybody in the world wants to be that. We need to connect to them, and that's what we're trying to do here at X Games League. So thank you so much for all of you to be here. We'd love to hear your opinions and your views and perspectives about what we're trying to do. And the more we have you guys give us input on how we can make this better and better, the better it is for all of us. Let me introduce you to my better half and great partner, Jahm Morad. He's one of the best sports operators, actually the best sport operator I've ever had the privilege of knowing in my life.
Thank you, John. That applause was for you, by the way, not me. All right. Really, really nice to be here. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for spending a day with us to learn. And really, that's what we are doing. I'm gonna step up here just so I can see a little better, see all of you. But so I've spent my career preparing for this. And, you know, people might look at me and say, well, what do you know, right? You're an old guy. Yeah, but I got a little hunger in me, and I've spent my career in sports. I started off on the athlete side and spent 20 years representing players in the NFL and Major League Baseball and other sports along the way. And then I moved over to management, and I learned how to run sports organizations. It was a learning process. I'm still learning, but I ran a couple of Major League Baseball teams, and then ended up figuring out with my partner Jahm how to get involved in a business way in organizations and sports. And so all we do is look at sports opportunities, and that's led us to Formula One in the form of McLaren Racing. It's led us to a number of global football clubs over in Europe, and it led us most importantly to the X Games. And we got a call, John referenced it a couple of years ago from ESPN. We really didn't hear from Walt Disney Company early on, but we heard from the people we knew in sports, and that was the ESPN folks. And they said, look, we're being encouraged to go out and put a process together and figure out who could be the next, owner of the X Games. And we said, well, that's interesting. But first of all, we don't participate in processes. And secondly, we don't really want to be an owner. But we love the idea of being a steward of great brands. And so we asked whether that was an approach that made sense to them. And they said, well, actually, we've only asked a few people their opinion, and you're the only one that's come back and described your aspirations like that. And in fact, it's what we believe. We believe that, the role we play, again, John referenced it, is as stewards of a brand. And in this case, it's stewards of an industry represented by all of you. I walked around and said hello to a number of you this morning and look forward to meeting more of you. And I, quickly realized, the broad spectrum of representation that's really in this room, from all aspects of action sports, some other leagues, some other, some representation businesses who work on the athlete side. And yet, together, what you all represent is the real pulse of this industry. So what we seek to do is simply understand that pulse. As we hear some of the athletes showing up to the athletes lounge behind us, I don't know that there's a better sound to hear and to, create the spirit of this gathering in this room. Because at the end of the day, we're really all about those athletes and this brand. And we're going to talk today about some of the steps we've taken. A number of you have asked about them already, to expand the brand and to broaden its impact in action sports and frankly in the broader sports industry globally. And, you're going to hear a lot about that today. We're going to answer questions that you may have about, our recent announcements. And we even have a few new announcements to make today. So a lot to share. We're excited about the leadership in the business. Our goal when we spun this business out of ESPN was to create a professionalized approach to a business which had traditionally been a bit bifurcated. And the idea was to create, some structure that maybe didn't exist in the past. ESPN viewed it as, with all due respect, a couple events a year that enhanced their broadcast inventory. We view it as an opportunity for all of us to create an impact in this industry like no one ever has before. And we can only do it with you. So that, it's the classic line of we're only as good as you are. We believe that. And we really believe that without collaboration and without putting our heads together, by the way, the falling down that Jahm referenced is no different than the way we view business. If you're afraid to fail, you're never going to succeed at the highest level. So, I'm not suggesting that, we're blind to risk. We recognize it. We obviously try to navigate around it, but we're not afraid to walk into it either. And with your help, we hope to do that in the right way and in a way that allows us to find the right paths forward to positively impact this industry and frankly, make it better known to the rest of the world, which we think is a really important goal for us and for the X Games brand. So I don't want to keep droning on. You're going to hear from plenty of people more interesting than us, but we're here as resources. We want to be your partners. Really, everyone in this room, in some way, you're here because of some desire to partner, and maybe you already are partnered. But we want to be there to further those partnerships and to further these relationships. So thank you. Please enjoy the day and the weekend.